I think you can take so much from history. Like, I don't think you actually have to make up that much stuff. Like, of course, if you're doing futuristic sci-fi, some things are being made up, or, you know, far past fantasy or whatever. But people themselves don't really change. And I think that's what some of these books we were talking about are doing. Like, we're talking about, it's much easier to predict the human reaction to things, because that's just sociology and psychology, and we can see how people react to things throughout history, than it is to predict where we're going to be technologically. Like, those are different things. One relies on the human, which we have tons of data on, and one relies on predicting technology forwards, and that's much more difficult.
When I think about the like, Twitter was in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Yeah. Google was in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Like, I think a lot of times when people end up making the technologies that were predicted, it's actually because the people who are interested in the books made them in that image.
It was the nerds.
Yeah. And it's like, it's not that it predicted it, it created it.
It's what is it, like the self-fulfilling prophecy?
Yes, 100%. If they would have written something else, it would be different. But because, like, the idea was able to be memed out into reality, like Neuromancer VR, like, they have VR goggles, like that form factor, which I think is going to be a failed form factor, it would appear. Even my most bullish friend on VR, who's been working in it in 10 years, works for Rec Room, built multiple VR companies, told me last week, he's like, yeah, it's dead, it's not going to happen. I was like, whoa, dude, that's crazy.
Did he say what changed?
He was like, nobody's going to pick up with the form factor. If we couldn't get it done during COVID, when people were really locked in their fucking houses, we're not going to get it done. They're going to use that technology into more spatial computing, into AR glasses, and that's going to be way more functional. Like, it's just not going to happen. And I was literally just like, what? Because I've been talking to him about VR for like 6 years, and he's like the most bullish person ever.
Yeah, but to your point, there was billions and billions and billions of dollars poured into that.
So much money. Yeah. And it came from, like, Neuromancer really wanted this to happen. And it's just like, that's just not going to happen. And I was even thinking the collapsing timeline in my mind, like the forward pressure was like, why would we have VR if we have Neuralink? Like, there's only, like, you know, a 20-year window where it makes sense to have it, and we've already eaten 5 of those years. So, like, skip.
Yeah.
Which is fucking crazy. Like, even Meta, right? Like, they used all that technology into their little Ray-Ban glasses.
But do you think they tried because in their head the form factor was kind of already established?
Yeah, via
Sci-fi.
Ready Player One, via Neuromancer. Yeah. That was like, it was like, oh, we're going to do it like Game. This. Yeah.
Have you read Ender's Game?
Oh, yeah.
That's a great one.
So fucking good.
Yeah. There's a scene in there where it's towards the end of the book, and it's one of my favorite scenes ever, because Scott Card, he essentially has Ender at the point where he is prepared, ready, capable of destroying the enemy. And then I think it's some of the best writing in a sci-fi novel. And I think writers have the advantage over other mediums of story that they can pause time and you can just enter a character's head. And at that moment, he pauses it for Ender and shows that he understands his enemy. And because he understands his enemy fully, he also loves them. But he also knows in that moment how to destroy them, and that he has to destroy them for humanity. And he does it. And that pausing of time to dive into Ender's head just gives it so much weight that wouldn't be there if it was just, okay, you know, threat to human civilization, bang, done, without getting into the head.
And it's crazy too that there was probably only a few sentences.
Yeah, it was 2 paragraphs.
Yeah. And you have such a massive impact with just a few sentences. I think I tend to try and over explain. I think that's why I'm not a very good writer, is like I try and I don't throw them the ball. I'm like, here, take the fucking ball, like throwing it to them.
Yeah, people love to interpret and be involved. That's how it's like the idea of subtext. Like what can you say through a story that's not actually on the page, but it's implied through characters' actions, dialogue, whatever. It's the Hemingway iceberg theory. People love to figure it out for themselves. They don't like being told what to do.
Yeah. You wrote an essay recently about showing and not telling, and that's like, first you said it was overrated, got some heat for that, I think.
Yeah.
And then you said it's misunderstood. What do you mean by that?
I think it's a false dichotomy. I don't think you have to either. There's also another choice where you just don't include something in the story at all, and that's completely viable. And for the vast majority of things, I think it's probably better just not to include it. But then between show and tell specifically, like they're just tools. You can absolutely tell. And I make the argument in there that if you want to tell, then the purpose is to compress the thing, to give yourself more room in the story to focus on what you want to show. Like I used the example, an example from Gatsby, and it's at the very start of the passage. Essentially, Gatsby's about to throw this party, and he's worried about it for the girl. And the narrator, Nick, tells you that Gatsby just sent a ton of flowers. He doesn't, and then it jumps, literally just Gatsby sent a greenhouse of flowers, jumps to an end, and then an hour later, Gatsby arrives. And that's how it goes. And Nick was doing stuff for that hour. He's probably arranging the flowers, doing all that, whatever. But Fitzgerald was just like, I'm just not going to include that because it doesn't matter to the story. Mm-hmm. So it's just that question. Like, does it actually matter to the story? And does it provide characterization? Or can I just efficiently get through it? And then stuff like that you tell.
Yeah. Have you ever read any Murakami?
Yeah, absolutely.
I always get pulled out of the story whenever he starts describing food. Because he just goes it was a simple meal, and then spends 4 pages talking about this white fish, and then it was delicately sat on a tray, and then she stared at it for 4 minutes. And then, yeah.
Well, do you know the story of? I think it was just with his first book, but he talks about it a little bit in Novelist as a Vocation, where he would get so in his head when writing that he actually shifted to doing the draft in English because it was his second language, and then he went to Japanese because he realized, I think, that he was a overcomplicator of a storyteller as a writer.
Yeah.
And instead, it'd be like me trying to write in Spanish. It would sound like a first grader. That's generous.
Just makes it way
Fourth
simpler.
Grader, yeah.
Damn. It also really helped because he's so popular in America, probably because he was writing English first,
It probably translates much better.
Yeah.